teach them the Bible, force them to listen to Bible quotes. Then when you, the Republican politician, quote the Bible, they feel good. They were taught the Bible in elementary school, and now you're quoting it to them. Of course they're going to vote for you. Makes them feel real good. Guess what dropped today? The GOP platform. Here is the 2024 GOP platform, Make America Great Again. They just call it Make America Great Again. Let's take a look at it, see what it says, see how the Republicans are feeling at the moment. And this is their official GOP platform, that this is what they plan to do with the government, assuming they win the next presidential election. And so this is nice. This is good. This is politics. This is what the purpose of politics is. They tell you what they're going to do. You decide whether or not you want to support it by giving them a vote. So let's hear what they have to say.
Hello human, it is me Kanuch. I need you to press the subscribe button. I have to feed my many AI babies.
Dedication to the forgotten men and women of America. The hell are the forgotten men and women of America? You talking about veterans or something? You can use the word veterans like it's your document. I don't know who the forgotten men and women of America are. Preamble. I'm going to read it in the movie voice. Our nation's history is filled with the stories of brave men and women who gave everything they had to build America into the greatest nation in the history of the world. Generations of American patriots have summoned the American spirit of strength, determination, and love of country to overcome seemingly insurmountable challenges. The American people have proven time and time again that we can overcome any obstacle and any force pitted against us. All feelings, very nice. I mean, yeah, it's fine. We're making people feel good. Feelings. In the early days of our republic, the founding generation defeated what was then the most powerful empire the world had ever seen. In the 20th century, America vanquished Nazism and fascism and then triumphed over the Soviet communism after 44 years of the Cold War. But now we are a nation of serious decline. Notice how some of these things are capitalized. I'm telling you, man, Trump had a lot of input on this. It's random words capitalized for importance. Trump had a hand in this. Serious decline. That is another Trumpism. It's another Trump phrase that he likes to use. I see no evidence that we're in some sort of serious decline. Our future, our identity, and our very way of life are under threat like never before. No. Republican, listen. Your feelings about how life ought to be.
It's in decline because it was manufactured to be that way due to austerity.
I know, and they're the only ones who can fix it, right? The Republicans don't feel good about the way the country looks, so they think that their way of life is under threat. This is nonsense. Change. Allow people to have freedom. Freedom means that there will be people that you don't like running around doing things that you don't like. If you don't like that, then you don't like freedom. Today we must once again call upon the same American spirit that led us to prevail through every challenge of the past if we are going to lead our nation to a brighter future. For decades, our politicians sold our jobs and livelihoods to the highest bidders overseas with unfair trade deals and blind faith in the siren song of globalism. It was capitalists that did that for money. You making it seem like this was the government's idea. It wasn't the government who told Nike to send all their to build the sweatshops in fucking Bangladesh. That was a capitalist decision. That wasn't the government. They make more money that way. That's how the capitalist system works. And here the Republicans, who benefit from that capitalist system, are telling you it's the government's fault that companies all hired 1,000 Chinese workers for the price that they could hire 15 American workers. That's capitalism that causes this issue to happen. The livelihoods to the highest bidders overseas is a capitalist move. Which one is the party of capitalism?
The government wanted taxes and required minimum wages, drove them overseas.
I know, right? Terrible nightmare government there. They insulated themselves from the criticism and the consequences of their own bad actions, allowing our borders to be overrun. What the fuck are you talking about? Borders? That's nothing to do with borders. Our cities to be overtaken by crime. Again, why are the people crossing the border? Capitalism. They want jobs. They want to be a part of our healthy economy. Our cities are overtaken by crime because those people can't get jobs doing anything else. Capitalism. Our system of justice is to be weaponized. It is damaged right now, but that's because the rich people buy the fucking judges. Capitalism. And our young people...
Be scared, empty your pockets.
Yeah, I know, right? And our young people to develop a sense of hopelessness and despair because they can't afford anything because of the overrunning capitalism. Capitalism has run amok, and it caused all of these problems that you have right now. They rejected our history and our values. They accept the history. They reject your fake version of history that's filled with propaganda, Republicans. Quite simply, they did everything in their power to destroy the country. You're the ones that are lying about what the country is, what it means, and what it's supposed to be. In 2016, President Donald J. Trump was elected as an unapologetic champion of the American people. Nonsense. He was an unapologetic champion of himself, nobody else. He reignited the American spirit, reignited the American feels, and called us to renew our national pride. Feels. National pride. That sounds kind of fucking fascist, doesn't it? His policy spurred historic and economic growth. No, it didn't. Job creation. No, it didn't. And resurgence of the American manufacturing. No, it didn't. President Trump and the Republican Party led America out of the pessimism induced by decades of failed leadership. No, they didn't. Showing us that the American people want greatness for our country again. Led America out of pessimism. What does that even mean? How is that not feelings? They have not said one substantial thing. Just feels. Feels everywhere. Facts over feelings, says the Republican Party, and then they publish this nonsense. Yet after nearly 4 years of the Biden administration, America is now rocked by raging inflation. Open borders. Raging inflation caused by the capitalists who want more money. The inflation that you're feeling is because the companies need more money, or else their stock prices won't go up. And if their stock prices don't go up, then their investors get mad. And if their investors get mad, they pull the plug and they sell all their stock, and then the whole thing falls apart. The entire economy goes into a fucking free fall if the investors get slightly less this year than they got last year. So they have to raise the prices, causing inflation.
Excuse me while I take care of this raging inflation I have.
I know, you've got a raging inflation. Better get hold of that. Open borders. Open borders, again. Capitalism. Rampant crime. Capitalism problem. Attacks on our children. But what attacks on our children? Some QAnon bait right there, baby. Make the QAnoners feel good. Global conflict, chaos, and instability. Global conflict is always going to happen. It is not a specific one government side. We can do a bad job. Each government could do a good or a bad job, but global conflict always happens. Chaos and instability are lessened with liberal economics. They really are. The old joke that China won't attack America because we owe them so much money, that's liberal economics. That is globalism. That will prevent wars. It really will. If Russia were losing horrible amounts of money by invading Ukraine, they'd be less likely to do it. But they're not. They think they've done a cost-benefit analysis that they can take this land, it will be theirs, and they will profit from that land because it's a breadbasket. It produces crops. Every time you roll an 8, it gives you two wheat. It's a wheat hex, you know. It was a Catan joke. For anybody cool enough. If you get Catan jokes and you will laugh at that, you have to press the thumbs up button. You have to. Those are the rules. If Russia was going to lose a bunch of money, they would be less likely to attack. If China is going to lose a bunch of money by invading us, they would be less likely to do it. This is globalism. It's a good thing. This is liberal economics. It's an okay thing. Let's keep reading, though. Like the heroes who built and defended the nation before us, we will never give up. We will restore our nation of, by, and for the people. We will make America great again. We will be a nation based on truth, justice, and common sense. Good God. Okay. All politics are based on feelings, and these fools just labeled them. Justice is a feeling, you guys. Common sense is a feeling that Republicans have. That's just what they feel like is correct. Common sense. I've said it before. Common sense is just what Republicans feel is correct. It doesn't have to be based on facts. They just common sense.
Republicans have none of those traits.
I know, right? Well, they have common sense because it's just how they feel. They feel justice when they are correct. They feel justified when they are proven, or when the Supreme Court says that, yeah, the thing that you've been doing is acceptable and correct and good. They feel justified. They feel justice when the Supreme Court allows Donald Trump to be a criminal. They feel like justice has been done. Justice is a feeling. Always has been. Always will be. I don't see it on the periodic table anywhere. I can't eat a big bowl of justice. I can't fill this cup with justice and have a sip. Justice is a feeling, just like common sense. And truth, I would say that, yeah, truth is a little bit more of a real thing than it's still a feeling, but it's an acceptable thing. I want truth to exist, and I want you to look for truth. But so you should look for truth, but doubt anybody who tells you they have it. Anyone who tells you they found the truth, you should immediately doubt that person, including Waldo. If Waldo tells you here's the truth, you should doubt him. That's how it's supposed to work. It's called proper skepticism, and it is a good thing that will lead you to right thinking and good ideas. Common sense, a feeling, tells us clearly that, in President Trump's words, that if we don't have a border, then we don't have a country. Well, that's stupid. We can have a border, and we can allow people across that border as we see fit. We can make the rules anything we want. In fact, we make the rules. The rules of immigration are not, in fact, thermodynamic laws of physics. No, they can be set any way we want them to. Restoring sensible border security and immigration policy requires many steps, all of which would have been, and indeed were taken for granted by prior generations as obviously necessary and good. No, they weren't. We must secure our southern border by completing the border wall that President Trump started. No, it's horribly inefficient and incredibly expensive and will fall apart and will do nothing. Hundreds of miles have already been built and work magnificently. No, they don't. They literally do not work magnificently. They don't function. That's the thing that kills me the most about Republicans. They tell me that the wall works. It doesn't. It never has. It never will. It never can function. It is a gigantic, nightmarish waste of money and resources. The remaining wall construction can be completed quickly. No, it can't. Effectively, no, it can't. Inexpensively, no, it can't. This is unreality. This entire sentence, the remaining wall construction can be completed quickly, effectively, and inexpensively, absolutely, positively, a big fat whopper of a lie. It can be none of those things. It will not be any of those things. It's impossible. And we must also vigilantly check those who enter our country by other routes and ensure that no one can enter our country who does not have legal right to do so. Why? And we must deport the millions of illegal migrants who Joe Biden has deliberately encouraged to invade our country. Why? They're helpful. They are here to work and do good things. Make them Americans. This is the part that kills me. Make them Americans. Give them steps to follow. They will follow them to become Americans. That's why they're here. They're not here to upset you. They're not here to steal your job. They're not here to harm you. They want to be Americans. That is commendable. That is a high five. Good job. I also like being an American. And would you like to be one too? Great. Follow these steps. We could do that. We could set that up. But we won't, because Republicans are racist. That's all there is to it. They're xenophobic. They don't want the country to change. And if you let other people from other countries into here, the country will change, and they won't be comfortable with it. That's all there is to it.
If they really had a problem with immigrants, they would go after agriculture businesses that hire them for pennies on the dollar and tax-free.
That's true. Stevie J, sorry I missed your comment, but America has the longest road. That's another Catan joke.
But why want?
But why they won't? Yeah. Well, yeah, they could go after the agriculture business, but they won't, because those are capitalist businesses. Those are businesses. You see, you have to blame the government anytime anything goes wrong. Time anything goes right, it's capitalists' fault. It's because of capitalism. Anytime it goes wrong, it's the government. It doesn't matter if it's the capitalist businessmen hiring those illegal workers to come in and then they stay. Well, that's the government's fault somehow. You have to bend everything to being against the government. That's called republicanism. Blame the government. That's what this entire platform should just say. Blame the government. We must not allow Biden's migrant invasion to alter our country. Alter our country. This is the way they feel. They don't want it to alter their country. It must not stand. Under the Trump administration and Republican Congress, it would be defeated immediately. Wait, what would be defeated immediately? No? You would defeat the border? Oh, the invasion would be defeated immediately.
Fourth Reich
Okay.
shit.
I know it is. This is absolutely some Nazi shit. Common sense, again, the feeling. Common sense is a feeling. We feel that if we don't have a domestic manufacturing and low inflation, not only will our economy and even our military equipment and supplies be at the mercy of foreign nations, but our towns, communities, and people cannot thrive. Domestic manufacturing would be a step backward for our economy. It really would. That's not how it would be a step backward. I don't think that's a good thing. Don't go backward. But again, the Republicans are the backward-facing party. They want borders. They want nation states. They want manufacturing to be in our country. They want backward. They want to move into the past. They want to ride a stagecoach into the future. That doesn't make any sense. The Republican Party must return to its roots as the party of industry, manufacturing, infrastructure, and workers. President Trump's economic policy to end inflation and return manufacturing jobs is not only what the American economy and American workers need right now, it is also what they want. It sounds good, but it won't happen, and it can't happen. Even then, this is because of the companies. If there's a company and they hire Bangladeshis and not Americans, that's a capitalism problem, not a government problem, not a thing that Trump can even do anything about unless he passes some very strict regulation. But they hate regulation, don't they? Yeah, you're right. Bond Rain. I always heard that party platforms don't hold much value. They're like dumb kids' wish list. This is actually a dumb kids' wish list. You're right. It is. But it is the thing that they are supposed to be telling you. That's what they do with their convention. This is what they want to do. It's what they plan on doing when and if they are in charge of the government. So I think it's interesting to read it and determine what they want for us. This is what they want for you. This is what they want for me. And I think it's bad. I think it's filled with imagination and unreality. Common sense, a feeling, tells us clearly that we must.
They love tariffs even though they don't know what they mean.
Yeah, they love tariffs until they hate them. They don't know what tariffs are. Tariffs are a complicated economic tool that has to be used intelligently, and they aren't intelligent. Neither are the Dems, honestly. They're left-leaning, so they can't comprehend the economy at all. Common sense, a feeling, tells us clearly that we must unleash American energy. Unleash American energy. That just means Exxon gets to do whatever the hell they want. Exxon makes more money. If we want to destroy inflation and rapidly bring down price and destroy inflation. Inflation is not like a creature that exists. You can't bomb inflation to death. Inflation is a complicated, difficult, theoretical thing that exists within capitalism. You can't destroy it. Even if you stopped it completely still, there would be consequences, repercussions to our economy for such a thing. If you had negative inflation, then the large banks would just hold on to their money, assuming that the money would be worth more in the future. You need a little bit of inflation. You need controlled inflation at the right rate. This is all very high level, big brain shit that Republicans do not understand. So they say, destroy inflation and rapidly bring down prices. Prices set by the companies. The companies are raising your price, and the Republican platform blames the government. Build the greatest economy in history. Revive our defense industrial base. Revive our defense industrial. You mean Raytheon and motherfucking Boeing and fucking all the defense contractors? They're bigger than they've ever been before. Why do you need to revive them? They're gigantic, monolith, monster agencies. Not agencies, but monster companies. Fuel emerging industries and establish the United States as the manufacturing superpower of the world. Impossible. And we don't even want it. We will drill, baby, drill. There we go. Short, pithy, and wrong. The conservative way.
Lack of regulation and price gouging hiked up prices.
Exactly. They're going to kill regulation. This whole thing is anti-regulation unless they're suggesting it. We'll find some situations where they hate regulation and then in the next sentence suggest regulation. We've become energy independent. We were never energy independent. That is a lie that Donald Trump and his fans tell you. It never happened. And even dominant again, so that Exxon can make more money and then charge you what they're charging you now. That's just what they'll do. They'll sell more. They'll keep charging you the same because they know you'll pay it. The United States has more liquid gold under our feet than any other nation, and it's not even close. The Republican Party will harness the potential of power to power our future and, asterisk, get Exxon more money. Common sense, another fucking feeling, tells us clearly that we don't have a strong military. What? We have the largest, most powerful military in the history of the world. It's bigger than the next 10 countries combined. We won't be able to defend our interests, and we will be at the mercy of hostile nations. The policy of the Republican Party must be to ensure America's military is the strongest and best equipped in the world. It already is. It has been for 100 goddamn years. And our government uses the great strength sparingly, only in clear instances where our national interests are threatened. Oh, our national business interests are threatened. They left that word out. They accidentally deleted a whole word, national business interests. So if Exxon wants a fucking thing done, then we will use the American military to get it done. Common sense, again, with the feelings, tells us clearly the Republican Party must stand for equal treatment for all. Really? Likewise, the Republican Party must ensure the equal application of law to all regardless of political affiliation or personal beliefs. This is... You think maybe they're being woke here, saying everybody should get equal treatment. But no, they're talking about Republicans shouldn't be held responsible for the crimes that Republicans commit. That's what they're telling you. Republicans shouldn't be held responsible for the crimes that Republicans commit because they did it for Republican reasons. That means it's okay. Recent Democrat-led political persecutions. Fuck you. Threaten to destroy 250 years of American principle and practice and must be stopped. Oh, now they're worried about changing 250 years worth of law. The Supreme Court changed 250 years worth of law last week. They changed 50 years worth of law with the Chevron decision, and they will undermine our entire country so that Donald Trump can't be held responsible. Donald Trump committed crimes, and instead of holding him responsible, the Republicans on the Supreme Court just made him immune to crime. He just can't be held responsible. That's what they call common sense. That's what they call law and order. They do not care about law. They do not care about order. They do not care about 250 years of precedent. They want what they want, and they will break any rule to get it. They will bend the law in any way that they can to accomplish their goal, which is to empower themselves. Let's see. Let's keep going. All right. America needs determined Republican leadership at every level of government to address the core threats of our very survival. Our disastrously open border, a weakened economy, crippling restrictions on American energy production, our depleted military. It doesn't exist. It's not real. Attacks on American system of justice and much more. We already covered all that. Most of that's not even real, man. Disastrously open border. It's the same as it's always been. Make them citizens. Problem goes away. Weakened economy. Yeah, it sucks right now, but that's because the companies are charging you too much so that they can make their stockholders happy. Restrictions on American energy production, that's to protect us from the absolute nightmare climate change. It's very hot outside right now because the climate is changing, y'all. How many of the people in our country are in a fucking heat wave right now? It's only going to get worse. And once you unleash all the American energy production, that's only going to skyrocket the fucking global warming. Depleted military, not real. Never been a thing. I don't know where the hell Donald Trump gets this. It's madness. It's nonsense. It's not even close to being correct. Attacks on the American system of justice. The Republicans are the ones attacking the system of justice. So, yeah, this fucking sentence, man, god damn. What planet does this person live
Waldo,
on?
the prophets.
The prophets, the bottom line. Won't someone please think about the bottom line? So here's their points. 1, seal the border and stop migrant evasion. It's not an invasion. It's not real. Make them citizens, and this problem goes away. Carry out the largest deportation operation in American history. Concentration camps. That, number 2, right there, will require concentration camps. I'm not telling you that they might create them. I'm telling you it will require concentration camps. It won't be death camps. They're not going to load them into showers with Zyklon B, but they will be concentrated there based on their ethnicity, based on their political status, based on their citizenship status. They will be in camps if they even get that far. I don't think that the Republicans can even get that far. If Donald Trump wins, they will try, and the first time it's on the news, they'll have 50 dudes in a concentration camp in the middle of Arizona, and all of a sudden the entire American fucking everybody in America will come down on that saying, hey, what are you doing?
Pardon January 6th RS, and you got yourself a brown shirt crew.
I know, and we'll get to that in a minute, but I think this concentration camp, and then you know what happens? They set up the concentration camp. The local police start arresting people they think are illegal. They will round them up and put them into this camp. They'll have to be housed there. They'll have to be fed. They'll have to go through a legal process. They'll have to get their be in front of a judge. And some of those people will have kids. You know, those kids being born in America, according to the Constitution, are Americans. But then they'll have to change the Constitution to, or they'll rip the families apart. That's what's going to happen. The news is going to be all over that shit. That's a great story. 2 parents taken away, 4 children left behind. You going to do anything about that with the government? Probably not. They're going to cut social services too for these people. Those 4 kids are born in America, but their parents are illegal, so they're going to get dragged away. Are you taking the kids too? There is no good way to do a mass deportation. It will be ugly. It will be disgusting. It will be anti-human. It will be against many, 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 many human rights. And the Republicans are going to cheer it on, but the rest of the country is going to see it. Even the middle-of-the-road Republicans are going to see the concentration camp and throw a fit.
Ending birthright citizenship is part of Project 2025.
I know it is, but they can't do that easily. It's not an easy thing to do. You can't do that without changing the Constitution, which will, even if Donald Trump wins, require a fuckload of votes in the Senate and the House. And the states have to ratify that shit. And that ain't going to happen. So it's very unlikely. They'll just ignore it, is what they'll do. And maybe, worst case scenario, Donald Trump will use some sort of immunity or deputized squad to break the Constitution. Doesn't look good on the news. The news will be against it. The regular people will come out against it. All the people in the middle are going to be, well, how did this happen? Oh, that's Trump guy. He came out of nowhere. Well, you didn't vote.
Official Act Sharpie update the Constitution.
Yeah, well, Official Act Sharpie update the Constitution, maybe. But that seems unlikely. I hope he doesn't do that, but he might. Worst case scenario, he does. And the Supreme Court's going to be like, oh, yeah, that's fine. That's cool. We're totally on board. Number 3, end inflation and make America affordable again. End inflation. That doesn't make any sense. The person who writes the word end inflation does not comprehend the economy. I'm a leftist. I'm not allowed to understand the economy. But you can't end inflation. It doesn't even make sense. There's no way to end it. You can control it. You can have it increase at certain intervals in the controlled way that you want it to. But if it's at 0, that's not good. If it's at negative, that's also not good. If it's at 1,000,000%, that's also hyperinflation. That's also not good. It needs to be controlled properly, not ended. Whoever wrote that does not know what the word inflation means and knows less about the economy than me, a leftist who doesn't think the economy is real. Let's see, what do we got? Number 4, make America the dominant energy producer in the world by far. See, I'm telling you, man, Trump wrote this one by far. That's a Trumpism right there. Make America the dominant energy producer in the world by far. That's the thing he says. I'm telling you, he wrote some of these. It's written like a Trump speech. It is absolutely a Trump stump speech. Let's see, what do we got? Number 5, stop outsourcing and turn the United States into a manufacturing superpower. The only way to stop outsourcing is for massive government regulation on companies. Are the Republicans going to do that? They hate regulation. They don't regulate companies. They don't tell companies what to do. They're just going to end outsourcing. Well, how? You're in charge. You're running for the government position, Republicans. This is the Republican platform for running the government. How is the government going to end the outsourcing? How are they going to end outsourcing? Government action. That's a regulation, man. Well, maybe. I suppose they could kill all minimum wage regulations and all workers. They could kill OSHA. They'll kill minimum wage. They'll allow you to hire 9-year-olds in your chicken rendering plant. And then there will be a manufacturing superpower. Great. It'll be great. What could possibly go wrong? Why would anybody complain about that? Large tax cuts for workers and no tax on tips. I want to end tipping entirely, but that's a really complicated situation. Large tax cuts for workers and no tax on tips. This is how you get normies to vote for you. This is how you get normies to vote for fascism, is pushing this. Don't be surprised if this one starts popping
Where
up.
Where does Project 2025 talk about birthright citizenship? Genuine question. I want to read about it at Shinsinto. Children fingers make my KFC better.
If the children made your KFC, it would taste better. Mosquito Psych Nerd. It is in there. I remember reading it a year ago or something like that when Project 2025 released. We'll search for it later. I can shoot the link into the Discord later today, and you can read the entire thing, and you can just Control F for birthright, I would suspect.
Discord. https Discord GG Beignet Tridix 8.
Shinsinto, if you have the link to the full Project 2025, throw it into the Discord for me, please. I would appreciate it. Thank you. Let's keep reading. Number 7, defend our Constitution.
Okie dokie, thanks a bunch.
Yeah. Defend our Constitution, our Bill of Rights, and our fundamental freedoms.
I have the PDF, by the way.
Oh, you have the PDF. It is Control F. Look for birthright. It's in there. If not, I can find it later and post the page. Defend our Constitution, our Bill of Rights, and our fundamental freedoms, including freedom of speech, freedom of religion, and the right to keep and bear arms. So, I like the Constitution. It's a good idea. I don't think the Republicans like it, except for that Second Amendment. They're all about that one, but the rest they don't really care about.
Check out Waldo's videos, https www.youtubecom at Waldo Videos.
Bad robot. Our Bill of Rights and our fundamental freedoms, including freedom of speech of Nazis, freedom of religion of Christians, and the right to keep and bear arms, assuming you're not a socialist or a communist. All of the Republican Bill of Rights has a bunch of asterisks, and they're hard to find. But freedom of speech online for Nazis. I mean, I don't know why. I respect their freedom of speech, but when a Republican starts talking about how their freedom of speech has been infringed, they mean they're not allowed to scream the N-word on Twitch anymore. And that makes them very unhappy. They're rather sad by that fact. I dropped my thing. Okay. 8, prevent World War III, restore peace in Europe and in the Middle East, and build a great Iron Dome missile defense shield over our entire country, made in America. Okay, that's insane. That's stupid. Prevent World War III. Donald Trump promises World War III all the time. He does. Donald Trump, in the debate, suggested that you can't vote for Joe Biden because he's going to cause World War III with his weakness. And you should vote for Donald Trump because if anybody messes with America or does anything that Donald Trump doesn't like, he'll start World War III. That was his actual message during the debate. Don't vote for Joe. He'll cause World War III. Vote for me. And if anybody messes with us, I'll start World War III. It's insane. He promises it often. He dropped the biggest non-nuclear bomb ever while he was in charge, and he assassinated Soleimani and a couple of other people that just he needed assassinating, almost starting a war with Iran. He wanted to go to war with Iran, but a lot of people on the inside stopped him from doing so. Let's see. So, and then peace in Europe has never happened, ever. No one can do that. And peace in the Middle East can't happen. Suggesting, I mean, he put Jared on it for 4 years, and Jared couldn't get it done. I don't think anybody can. Great Iron Dome missile defense shield over our entire country. That would be an absolute fucking nightmare. Honestly, that is absolute madness. You would need a missile battery every 100 feet or so, maybe every few hundred feet. I'm not an expert on this thing, but you would need a lot of them. Lots and 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 lots. Millions upon millions upon millions of missile batteries along the coast so that you can shoot down tiny rockets. The reason Israel has an Iron Dome, and the reason they need it, and the reason it works for them is because they're incredibly small, and they have neighbors who are firing small arm rockets, just RPGs and stuff like that, into their area to cause wanton destruction and just general misery. They're not even aiming for anything. They're just aiming at the country. We don't have that in America. Canada is not lobbing small missiles 1 or 2 miles into Minnesota. It's just not happening. This is nonsense. This is insane. Building it would be ridiculously expensive, impossible to do maintenance. They would need, you know, missiles don't just sit completely still until you're ready to fire them. They require intense maintenance. They require protection from the elements. And if there are millions of them along the coast where water lives, they will start to rust, and you will have to check them, and you have to replace them, and you have to get new parts, and you will have to maintain them. And they're filled with missiles. They're just filled with explosives. This is insane. Who would suggest that? What kind of madman wants millions? And each one would have a few missiles in it, right? So if we're talking 100,000 of these things, just to make nice round numbers, 100,000 of them, and they all had 10 missiles, well, that's 1 million missiles across the country, just strewn about. Strewn about the country. Would these things be in like a military bunker or something? What's to stop stupid teenagers from sneaking in there and stealing a couple of missiles? This is a dumb idea. This is one of the worst ideas I've ever heard. Also, entirely unnecessary, as we don't have tiny little missiles being lobbed at us, because that's what the Iron Dome does. It shoots down the tiny little missiles that are coming in. If big missiles come at us, intercontinental missiles, which is what would be required from any of our enemies to get to us, our military already has that under control. They can see them coming. They know how to take care of them. Duh. If large missiles are coming at us, our military already has a plan for that. This isn't something that they just now heard of and didn't know what to do with. They're not reading. There's not a general sitting around reading the Republican platform saying, oh man, dang. Hey, did we think of that, Colonel? Hey, Colonel, come here. Did we ever think about shooting missiles down? That's not how that goes. They already have this under control. Stop stepping on their toes. Don't get in their way. They already know what's up. That one's especially insane. That one drives me nuts. End the weaponization of government against the American people. It's weaponized against criminals. Maybe. Follow me here. Republicans, maybe. Stop electing criminals. Have you tried that? Republicans, have you tried voting for people that aren't breaking the law? Give that a shot, maybe. The DOJ would leave you alone if you weren't breaking the law. I have never had any issue with the Department of Justice. You know why? Because I don't break the law, unlike Republican candidates. Number 10, stop the migrant crime epidemic. It's not real. They commit less crime than Americans. Demolish the foreign drug cartels. Crush gang violence and lock up violent offenders. Demolish the foreign drug cartels. They're in a foreign country. Are you going to bomb Mexico? Are you going to bomb Colombia? Because that's a war, you guys. Crush gang violence. Okay. I mean, I'm suggesting that almost all people in a gang are there because they can't get their economic needs met any other way. They're not there because it's fun. They're there because that's the only job they can get. It's the only way they can fucking make a living. That's an economic, that is a capitalism problem. Gangs are the symptom of capitalism run amok. This fucking entire Republican thing loves capitalism. Lock up violent offenders. I mean, that's fine, but I don't think it's going to help you any. How about we prevent violent offenders by controlling capitalism running amok? Rebuild our cities, including Washington, D.C., making them safe, clean, and beautiful again. Rebuild our city? Are you going to pay for that? Are you going to tax people and use tax money to rebuild our cities? Because I'm on board, man. That's some socialism right there, baby. Tax the rich, rebuild your cities. I'm on board. This is some fucking capitalism right here, but I don't think they'll do that. Making them safe, clean, and beautiful again. Beautiful. That's some fashy language right there. I have a feeling that one's going to rear its ugly head again somewhere. Strengthen and modernize our military, making it, without question, the strongest and most powerful in the world. It already is. Number 12 checked off. I guess we can check that one off the thing. Keep the U.S. dollar as the world's reserve currency. That's, man, that is one of the most complicated economic sentences you can say. Keep the U.S. dollar as the world's reserve currency. Well, doesn't the world have some say in that? Doesn't every other economy on the planet have something to do with that? This is global economics, which is incredibly complicated and too complicated for me, clearly, and too complicated for Republicans. I know, I'm sure. They don't know what it means. They don't know what that means. They just know that it's a cool buzzword, and that might fit. That might even fit on a bumper sticker, you know? Fight for and protect Social Security and Medicare with no cuts, including no changes to the retirement age. Okay, are you going to tax the rich to pay for that? Republicans, number 14, protect Social Security. Charge the rich more in taxes to pay for it. If not, then 14 is horseshit. You're lying to people to make them feel better. You're not going to do the thing necessary to do the number 14. You're just not. Cancel the electric vehicle mandate and cut costly and burdensome regulations. Those damned electrical cars. We burn dead dinosaurs in this fucking country. Damn it. We do not drive no piddly electrical cars. Oh, and what if the capitalists want to make electrical cars? Well, fuck them. We only drive diesel. It's insane. It's so stupid. I don't even know what to, like, that would require more regulations. Cancel the electric vehicle mandate. So are you going to prevent people from making electrical vehicles? That would be a regulation. But they hate regulations. Okay. Cut federal funding for any school pushing critical race theory, radical gender ideology, and other inappropriate racial, sexual, and political content on our children. Again, wokeism is correct and fine, and you're just uncomfortable with it. Schools aren't pushing critical race theory. Anything you don't like, you just call critical race theory blindly because you don't care if you're correct. Radical gender ideology, again, schools aren't pushing that, but even if they were, this is just horseshit to make people feel good. You would have to pass regulations, which you also hate, about what you can and can't say. I thought you were all about the freedom of speech. Don't want the freedom of speech if they don't like it. Other inappropriate racial, sexual, or political content in our children. This just means that they don't want any wokeism because they hate it, and everything they don't like is woke, and woke is not allowed. Keep men out of women's sports. We already do that. There aren't any men in women's sports. There are trans women in women's sports, but trans women are women, you see. This is a problem that has already solved itself, and we can mark 17 off the list. Good job, guys. Deport pro-Hamas radicals and make our college campuses safe and patriotic again. Deport pro-Hamas radicals. What if I was a pro-Hamas radical? I'm not, but what if I were? Would you get to deport me? Do you think that the people on those college protests were immigrants? They weren't. They were Americans telling the American government, protesting to the American government, protesting their college. Those were American people, mostly, protesting their American college, and you're going to deport them? Maybe they misworded this one.
17, it's like 0.001 of the population of woman ports.
I know, right? And even then, those are trans women. Trans women are women, you see. Problem solved. 17 is done. It's over. We fixed it. Good job, guys. No reason to even number it on this list if it's already taken care of. The people, and it was the pro-Palestine side that was facing the violence. It was the pro-Palestine side that got ravaged by the cops and the counter-protesters. The pro-Palestine side was the one that got injured, not the pro-Israeli side. Do you guys not pay attention to what you're actually talking about? No, of course they don't. They're Republicans. Secure our elections. They already are, including same-day voting, voter identification, paper ballots, and proof of citizenship. Now this is the worst one of the bunch, I think. They're trying to make it harder to vote, because if it's harder to vote, they're more likely to win. If it's easy and everybody gets to vote, Republicans lose. They know this. I know this. You know this now that I'm telling you. They're making it harder to vote because they don't like it when people vote. Voting is bad. It keeps coming out to slightly left-leaning, and the Republicans cannot have that. So they're going to secure our elections, which they already are. Our elections are already secure. They are. You're just lying if you say they're not, including same-day voting, and only same-day voting is what they want. Voter identification and paper ballots and proof of citizenship. This is more hoops to jump through. If there are 1 hurdles to get over to vote, people will do that. If there's 178 hurdles, some people will get stuck on hurdle number 34. Some people will get all the way to hurdle number 78, making fewer people vote. That is their plan. That is their plan for democracy. Fewer votes. They cannot be having this wild open, everybody votes all the time. They hate that. Republicans do not want that. They cannot allow that. They don't like it. What else we got? Number 20, unite our country by bringing it to new and record levels of success. That's just nothing. That's not even a point. I don't know. They needed 20. So they're like, they needed 20. And so they were like, yeah, you can't have 19. So they just made up that last little one.
Pressing the thumbs up button will release chemicals in your human brain that will make you feel.
Table of contents. You really need a table of contents on a 16-page document? Whatever. Okay. This one is, let's see. Defeat inflation and quickly bring down all prices. Unleash American energy. That just makes more money for Exxon and Mobil. You know, they have a lot of money already. Soon be lifting restrictions on American energy production and terminating the socialist Green New Deal. The Green New Deal never passed. It didn't. It's a boogeyman that just does not exist. The Green New Deal does not exist. None of its regulations got put into place. They're still campaigning against it, though. They keep telling people, there it is. The Green New Deal is going to come and get you. Be careful. Be careful, folks. Late at night, the Green New Deal can live under your bed if you don't notice. And it can spring out and get you at night. The Green New Deal will get you at night if you're not careful. If you have to say the Lord's Prayer and pray to Ronald Reagan every night, or else the Green New Deal will get you. It's going to get you. What else we got? What page are we on? We're on page 7. We're about halfway through. Rein in wasteful federal spending. I mean, unless they like it, Republicans will immediately stabilize the economy by slashing wasteful government spending and promoting economic growth. That just means cutting social services. They'll keep spending on dumb shit like unleashing American energy. They'll keep giving oil producers more and more and more tax breaks and more money, but you can't have orphans eating and stuff like that. That's expensive. Cut personally costly and burdensome regulations. They hate regulations. Stop illegal immigration. I thought this was about energy. Republicans will secure the border, deport illegal aliens, and reverse the Democrats' open border policies have driven up housing, education, and health care for American families. Motherfucker. The housing prices are up because of capitalism. The people who own the houses want more money, so they are charging you more money. It's run by companies who want more money. This is a capitalist problem. Education, guess what? All those colleges that are so damn expensive are money-making companies. They're the ones dicking you. They're the ones charging you thousands of dollars for a quality education because that makes them money. That is their business. And healthcare, good God. Healthcare for American families, that's run for profit by capitalism, man. Like, these are all capitalist problems that have nothing to do with illegal immigration. This is under the illegal immigration tag. You got 3 giant, and 4 if you count the border itself, is the reason that people want to cross that border is to get into our economy. So you've got 4 giant flaws of capitalism right here, and you're calling it the Stop Illegal Immigration bullet. The flaws of capitalism are called illegal immigration by Republicans. They do not care about what's real. They do not care about what's correct. They just want more fear for you so that they can win. Restore peace through strength. That's some fucking fashy. That's a fascist talking point, right? Peace through strength. That's not a line from 1984. I'm racking my brain right now to remember if peace through strength is one of the fucking talking points of the party in 1984. I think maybe it was V for Vendetta. No, I think that's strength through faith or something like that. I think, yeah, V for Vendetta. He's like, strength through faith. But still, peace through strength is fucking fashy language. War breeds inflation. What? No. What? War does not breed inflation, my man. Companies breed inflation. While geopolitical stability brings price stability, geopolitical stability doesn't bring price stability, no. But it is a good thing for geopolitical stability. You can use economics to cause geopolitical stability. You can. That's liberalism. It really is. That's globalism. Republicans will end the global chaos and restore peace through strength, reducing geopolitical risks and lowering commodity prices. That, bro, I don't know what planet you live on, but none of that is correct. Maybe nobody read down this far. I'm the only idiot that reads this far. I appreciate everybody who's here.
You were thinking
watching.
of War is Peace from 1984.
War is Peace. There we go. Maybe.
Thank you for following.
I appreciate you following it.
Turn the friggin' frogs gay.
You turned a friggin' frog gay. I hope you're proud of yourself. I'm proud of you. Yeah, war is peace. Yeah. Ignorance is strength. Ignorance is strength is what it was from 1984. Ignorance was strength. I think V for Vendetta uses strength through faith, if I remember correctly. I could be wrong. It's been a long time since I watched that one. Chapter 2, Seal the Border and Stop Migrant Invasion.
I don't understand anything, but I stay to listen. It's interesting. And
Santa Valentina Monter. I appreciate it. Thanks. I don't understand most of the things Republicans say either. Republicans offer an aggressive plan to stop the open border policies and have opened the floodgate to a tidal wave of illegal aliens, deadly drugs. The deadly drugs are being smuggled by white people. And migrant crime. That's not a real thing. We will end the invasion of the southern border, restore law and order, and protect American sovereignty, and deliver a safe and prosperous future for all Americans. The migrant crime is statistically nil, you know? Yes, sometimes a migrant will commit a crime. but there are 1,000 more times. Well, I don't know the exact number, but there are lots more crimes committed by actual Americans. Deadly drugs are being smuggled by the Americans who can cross the border freely for money. Why is an American leaving their home, going to Mexico, meeting with a drug dealer, getting lots of drugs, hiding it on themselves or in their car, driving back to America, and then selling it to another drug dealer on this side? Money, economics. Those drugs are a side effect of capitalist economic policies. They really are. And I mean, drugs are great. Have you ever tried them? They're fantastic. Everybody loves them. And there are lots and lots and lots of people in our country who are willing to pay for them. You can't change the drug.
Thank you for following Mosquito Psych Nerd.
Mosquito Psych Nerd, you also turned a frog. I hope you're happy. Hope you're proud of yourself. I'm glad you did. You turned that frog. You are a frog sexuality engineer. You can put that on your resumes now. You can put that on your you can put that on your resume now. You are now a frog sexuality engineer. So yeah, the people who are doing the drug trading are doing it for money because we live in a capitalist hellhole. We live in a capitalist dystopia. They need money to live. They can't get a regular job. Regular jobs don't pay nearly enough, and so they have a side hustle. You know, some people's side hustle is driving Uber at night. Some people deliver groceries, and some people drive to Mexico, pick up fentanyl, take it to a drug dealer in America for money. And why does the drug dealer want those drugs? Because the people in America are willing to give money for it. This is a capitalist problem. Solve the people demanding the drugs. The drug trade will stop. There will be no money in it any longer. If there's no money in it, it won't happen. So let's see what else we got. Where are we? Secure the border. Republicans will restore every border policy of the Trump administration and halt the releases of the illegal aliens into the interior. We will complete the border wall. It doesn't work. It's expensive and it doesn't work. Shift massive portions of the federal law enforcement to immigration enforcement. So more agents along the border, that doesn't help. I mean, they'll stop people from coming across, walking across, but they will still come through the points of entry. They will still sneak in, and they will still come in on planes and on work visas and overstay their visas. Use advanced technology to monitor and secure the border. We will use all resources needed to stop the invasion, including moving thousands of troops currently stationed overseas in our own southern border. Troops are going to do what? Violently stop them from crossing the border. And if you violently treat another country's citizens, that might lead to war. We will deploy the U.S. Navy to impose full fentanyl blockade on the waters of our region. Again, giant waste of money. Boarding and inspecting ships to look for fentanyl and fentanyl precursors. Before we defend the borders of foreign countries, we must secure the border of our country. That's a fucking dig at Ukraine. Right there is what that is. Why are we... the Republicans don't want to defend Ukraine while this horrible nightmare border invasion is happening on our own border, except it isn't happening. They're lying to you. They're exaggerating normal human processes. Humans moving from a dilapidated place where they can't make a living and their children are in danger to a better place is normal. That's humanity. Migration happened before any nation state was ever existed. And it will continue to happen well after the America falls apart and has died and become part of history books. Hopefully that isn't for a long time. I want America to continue. I want it to live for a very long time. But at some point it might end and people will still migrate. Man, you can't stop. You can't use a law to prevent human nature. It's insane to even try. Why would you try to do that? It doesn't make any sense. You will fail every time. Enforce immigration laws. Republicans will strengthen ICE, increase penalties for illegal entry and overstaying visas, the visas like I was talking about, and reinstate Remain in Mexico and other policies that help reduce illegal immigration and historic lows. In President Trump's first term, we will also invoke the Alien Enemies Act, remove all known suspected gang members and drug dealers or cartel members from the United States, ending the scourge of illegal alien gang violence once and for all. No, it won't. It will not do that. You can't do that. You'll have to set up an entire concentration camp, and then they will just dodge you. They'll just hide, or someone else will take their place. Bring back the travel ban. Blah blah blah. This one is we already covered that. Strict vetting. That's nothing. Oh, here we go. Republicans will use existing federal law to keep foreign Christian-hating communists, Marxists, and socialists out of our America. Those who join our country must love our country. We will use extreme vetting to ensure that jihadists and jihadist sympathizers are not admitted. So, foreign Christian-hating communist, Marxist. I'm a Christian-hating socialist. I'm a Christian-hating Marxist. Are they going to kick me out? No, at the moment they're not, because I'm not foreign. But they would try if they could. These are thought crimes. If you don't like Christians, that's a thought crime that you might have committed.
Love me or suffer.
Love me or suffer. Yeah, we'll get to that. If you appreciate communism, that's a thought process. They're describing thought crimes here. If you appreciate Marx like I do, you've committed a thought crime and you need to be placed under the violence of the state. Socialists out of America, just violence upon the people who think incorrectly. This is a very fashy fucking sentence right here. It really is. Must love our country. Must love our country. You must think a certain way. You must have the feelings that we tell you to have. Severe fascism, in this sentence. We will use extreme vetting to ensure that the jihadist and jihadist sympathizers are not admitted. This is fascism. It's right here. It's on what page is this? This is page 8. Fascism. Plain and simple. Stop sanctuary cities, ensure our legal immigration system puts American workers first. It can't and it won't. Republicans will prioritize merit-based immigration, ensuring those admitted to our country contribute positively to our society and economy, and never become a drain on public resources. We will end chain migration, even though Donald Trump's wife used it, and put American workers first. Well, what about all the American fashion models that Melania put out at work? Is it Melania? Who's his wife? Melania? Yeah, that's her. Ivanka's his daughter. End chain migration, even though his wife used it. Okay. Chapter 3, build the greatest economy in history. Cut regulations. Republicans will slash regulations that stifle jobs, freedom, innovation, and make everything more expensive. We will implement transparency and common sense in rulemaking. The regulations are helping the people and constraining the excesses of capitalism, but they don't care. They hate that because the companies tell the Republicans that these regulations are costing them money and they don't like it. So they can give more money to the Republicans if they just didn't have these damn regulations. That's the only reason they're anti-regulation, is because they would make more money if they got rid of them. Make the Trump tax cuts permanent and no tax on tips. I know this is stupid, and I hate tipping culture, and I would like tips to cease to exist. I want companies to pay their workers better instead of me paying them via tips. But I'm a fucking socialist, so what do I know? But this is the kind of shit that will get people to vote for him. It really will. No tax on tips. That hits a lot of motherfuckers in America, and they'll vote for that policy. I don't think it'll ever be put into law or
Page
anything like that.
144 of Project 2025 is where they start talking about birthright citizenship, bundling it in with chain migrations.
There you go. Good job, Shinsinto. You found it. So Republicans will make it permanent the provisions of the Trump tax cuts and job acts that doubled in standard deductions, expanded the child tax credit, blah, 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 eliminate taxes on tips, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so that's fine. I would rather just not be a part of tipping culture. If there's no tax on tips, somebody's going to break that fucking rule. Somebody's going to break that law. Somebody's going to turn that into a giant gaping loophole. Giant loopholes. And just say that everything that they're only going to pay their workers in tips or something like that. And somebody's going to use that to cheat on their taxes. I have no doubt. That would not surprise me at all. What have we got? Fair and reciprocal trade deals. Republicans will continue forging the American first trade policy as set in Chapter 5. Blah, blah, blah. Foreign outsourcers, nothing there. Reliable, abundant, low-cost energy. How do you do that? Republicans will increase energy production across the board, streamline permitting and end market distorting restrictions on oil, natural gas, and coal, which will lead to more climate change. Summers are going to get hotter if Republicans win. The Republican Party will once again make America energy independent. It never was. This is a lie. They say a lot. We were never energy independent. That is horse shit. They just made it up. And energy dominant, and then energy dominant. We were energy dominant, according to them. They're lying. Lowering energy prices even below the record lows achieved during President Trump's first term. Let's see. Republicans will pave the way for future economic greatness by leading the world in emerging industries like crypto. They love crypto. Republicans love crypto because crypto is a scam. Crypto is a scam. I'll say that slower for the tech bros who might be watching. Crypto is a scam. All of it. Bitcoin included. Litecoin. Dogecoin. Monkey pictures. Scams. The blockchain is a tool, sure. I'm not saying that's a scam. That is a distributed ledger. That's a tool that can be used for certain things. But if you're using it for currency, it's a scam. Those scams are appreciated by the Republican Party because the Republican Party is filled with con men who will lie to you to take your money. If you went to the last Republican convention, they were selling, I covered it once, they were selling Freedom Water. It's just Trump branded water. It's the same water as every other bottle, but they charge you more and you feel good about it. Just like Republican beer. Remember when Bud Light hired a trans person to do a commercial who didn't do anything trans or say anything trans? She just said, "Hey, I like beer. Tasty, tasty beer." The end. And this pissed off so many people because just seeing a trans person causes them to lose their fucking minds. That Kid Rock shot up a bunch of beer, and then a whole bunch of companies started selling not woke beer. Scammers, con men sold you that beer. It was the same beer as everybody else. They just put a red, white, and blue sticker on it and charged you more. Don't be a sucker. Crypto's exactly the same. Crypto's a scam.
He bought that beer and then shot it.
He bought the beer and then shot it. Yeah, that's right. He paid money, then shot it. Just like burning the football jerseys. You paid a ton of money. Those jerseys are not cheap. Those official football jerseys, those are expensive. And then they burned them and then had one less jersey in their closet. Then they had to go buy more, probably. Scams. They're being tricked. They're being conned is what they're doing. But the Republicans love cons. The Republican Party loves cons and con men. So they love crypto, they love AI, and they love expanding freedom, prosperity, and safety in space. Under Republican leadership, the United States will create robust manufacturing industry in near-Earth orbit. Ooh, are you gonna pay for that? Are you gonna raise taxes to get that? No, you're not. You're gonna have companies do it poorly for cheap? Because that's what I want. I want to be on a rocket built with cost-cutting corners cut so that it could fly for 1% less. Send American astronauts back to the moon. No. Why? Dude, no. There's nothing on the moon, you guys. There's nothing there. There is nothing of value on the moon. That's why we don't go back. This isn't a conspiracy. There's no conspiracy on why we don't go back to the moon. There's nothing there. There is no useful commodity. You can't roll an 8 and get a sheep. You can't while you're on the moon. The moon hex is nothing. You cannot get anything from there. You cannot go there. It's expensive to go there, first of all, and it's incredibly dangerous and could go wrong and people could die. And then you, bring back moon rocks. Moon rocks are not helpful for you. They are not good for you. They're not good. You can't use them for things when you get them back here. You can't. There's nothing to them. They're just rocks. We have rocks here. Okay, Waldo, well, we're going to build a base to get to Mars. We're going to we're going to fly to the moon. Okay. We're going to build a base, and it's easier to build there because everything weighs less, and we can build a spaceport on the moon. Okay, great. What are you going to do on Mars? There's nothing there. There's no valuable resources on Mars. There's not even any oxygen. Have you seen the movies? There's no air up there. You're going to take all your air with you. There's nothing on Mars that we can't get here for cheaper. There is nothing on Mars that will help you in your daily life. Now, what is some good stuff that you can do in space? Satellites. There's a good chance that if you're watching right now, you're getting my madness beamed to you via a satellite. That's awesome. That's helpful to you. Moon rocks do not help you in your daily life. Satellites do. Move towards getting better satellites. Clean up some of the junk that's out there. The satellites have a difficulty bumping into shit that's left out there because it floats around for a very long time. Clean some of that up. Come up with plans to snag asteroids and shit like that, and then bring them back down to Earth and steal their rare earth minerals. This is good. This is all very good stuff that could help you in your daily life. Asteroids that are filled with titanium and filled with lithium and shit like that could be helpful to you. But the moon is not. It's just not. There's nothing on Mars either that we could get, that we could go there and pick up and bring back. It would do nothing. It is a gigantic, nightmarish waste of money. But it makes the Republicans feel good, and they're con men, so they're going to try and con you into going to the fucking moon again. Let's see. What do we got? Page 10. Republicans offer a plan to make the American dream affordable again. We commit to reducing housing, education, and healthcare costs while lowering everyday expenses and increasing opportunities. It's the companies that raise the price of housing. It's the companies that raise the price of education. It's the companies that raise the price of healthcare costs. Are you going to regulate those companies? No. The Republicans are not going to regulate those companies while lowering everyday expenses and increasing opportunities. No, you're not going to do any of this. That would require you to rein in the running amok capitalist companies, and you're not going to do it. You're on their side. You have stock in their companies. Protect American workers and farmers from unfair trade. Trade balance, trade deficits. Christ, trade deficit means that we gave another country money and they gave us stuff. That's not a deficit. Trump talks about these trade deficits all the time. We gave them money. They gave us stuff for that money. And he thinks this is a nightmare. He hates this idea because it's a trade deficit. Trade deficits are fine. We have money. We need stuff. Give us your stuff. We'll pay you for it. That's just economics. That's just how it works. Trade deficit sounds scary. Sounds like they stole from us. No, they didn't steal from us. They gave us stuff when we paid for it. That's all that is. So when the Republicans complain about trade deficits, they're being silly. They're being ridiculous. What do we got? Strategic independence from China. Republicans will revoke China's most favored nation status, phase out imports and essential goods, and stop China from buying American real estate and industries. This is a dumb idea. Why is this a dumb idea? Is China our competitor? Yes. But if like I said earlier, they will never go to war with us because we owe them so much money and they sell us so much stuff. If China went to war with us, they would lose money. Hence, they won't do it, which is why they won't do it. That's liberal economics and globalism working properly. You can do that with all the other countries too. Phase out imports of essential goods. That would harm our economy massively. And that will cause them to want to go to war with us. That will cause war with China. Removing their favored nation, stopping them from sending us stuff and then us sending them money, and stop China from buying American real estate would cause them to go to war with us. They would have more reason to go to war with us. They would have more benefit to going to war with us. This Republican plan will cause war with China. Do not vote for Republicans. They will cause war with China because they're too dumb to comprehend. Because they're afraid of the word globalism. Globalism is not a dirty word. It's fine. Save the American auto industry. Republicans will revive the U.S. auto industry in reversing harmful regulations, canceling Biden's electric vehicle and other mandates, and preventing the importation of Chinese vehicles. Again, with the Chinese vehicles. The U.S. will never be an auto industrial place again. It won't. It's simply not something that the companies want to do. And unless you force the companies through regulations to do so, they're not gonna. Bring home critical supply chains. Again, companies won't do it. Buy American and hire American. The companies won't do it. Become the manufacturing superpower. The companies won't do it unless you force them through regulation, which you already promised that you won't. Protecting seniors. Our commitment to President Trump has made absolutely clear that he will not cut one penny from Medicare or Social Security. Is he going to tax the rich people appropriately to pay for that? I don't think he is. This is one of them campaign promises that just does not happen. He will promise this on a stump speech. He will tell you this, and after he gets elected, he'll say, well, things have changed. Well, the Democrats have decided to kill Medicare, and the Democrats...
But we can say we did and blame Dems when companies don't.
Yeah, exactly. They'll blame the Dems when any of this goes wrong. We promised not to cut Medicare, but the Dems caused inflation and released the inflation monster, and it ate all of the Social Security checks. So you can't have your Social Security check because Joe Biden released the inflation monster. And because he won't raise taxes on rich people to pay for these things. Social Security, he's not going to raise taxes. Strengthening Medicare, he won't raise taxes to do. And it's the companies, again, it's the companies that are raising your prices. It's capitalism run amok. It's harming this, doing all these things. But they love it. They love it because the Republicans love it because they own stock in these companies and they want those companies to do better so that after they're elected, their stock price goes up and they'll be richer. You'll be poor and you'll be paying more for everything, but their stock price went up. Protect care at home for the elderly. Republicans can shift resources back to, senior care. Yeah. Why is at-home senior care expensive? Because nobody wants to pay for it. Care worker shortages. Are you paying them properly? No? Well, then you're going to have care worker shortages. Christ almighty. Everything comes back to the fucking capitalism, man. Protect economic foundations for supporting seniors. Republicans will tackle inflation, unleash energy, restore growth, blah, blah, blah. Economic boom. Yeah, no, you won't. Oh, schools. Great. What are they going to talk about schools? Republicans offer a plan to cultivate great K-12 schools, ensure that safe learning environments free from political meddling, and restore parental rights. There will be political meddling, but it'll be Republican political meddling. We commit to the education system that empowers students, supports families, and promotes American values. American values. See, that's their version of political meddling. Our education system must prepare students for successful lives and well-paying jobs. That's fine. That's what all people want with their education system. Republicans will support schools that focus on excellence and parental rights.
Refuse to pay people a livable wage. Why do people not want to work?
Exactly. We will support ending teacher tenure. Why? Adopting merit pay and allowing various publicly supported educational models. Hey, Shinsinto, you work in education. This is going to harm teachers. This is going to make it harder for them to keep their jobs. And they will probably make less money, and there will be fewer of them. And who will they get replaced with? Bible study. Republicans believe families should be empowered to choose the best education for their children. We support universal school choice in every state in America. That's racist. I'll tell you why in a sec. We will expand 529 education savings accounts and support homeschooling families equally. Education savings accounts, poor people don't have those. Sorry, they don't. Education savings account is where you take some of your extra money. You know all that.
Non-college teachers don't have tenure.
I know they don't. Nobody, but they're terrified that your kindergarten teacher has tenure and keeps getting in, and can't be fired because she once suggested that slavery was real. They have fever dreams about this. Hang on one second. I gotta turn the light on. Sorry, I had to have my light on. So, school choice is only for the people who are rich enough to take advantage of it. If you are in the middle class or poor, you don't get to choose when you start work. The higher middle class and the upper class do, in fact, get to look at their employer and say, hey, I'm going to be there at 9:15 because I have to drop my kid off at school. Poor people don't get to do that, man. They don't get to do that. They are told when to be there, and if they're not, they lose that job. So they don't get to do school choice. School choice is a luxury of people who are rich enough to afford it. If you choose a school that is better, that's because it's farther away from you. If you were right next to that school, you wouldn't have to choose it. You would just be assigned to it because it's closest. Schools are assigned via locality, depending on where you live and how far you are from it. But richer, more privileged people say, I don't want that school. Nah, that one doesn't have good teachers and good numbers. I want this school over here, and I want to remove my child from the school that they're in and put them in the one that's farther away. That is a luxury that they get to have. But then they also say, why am I paying taxes to this crap school? I want to pay taxes to the good school. Again, you don't get to choose stuff like that. You should just be stuck with the one that you're closer to so that it's fair and equitable. But they don't want fair and equitable. They want class distinction. Class distinction. Poor people stay at the poor school. Rich people go to whichever school they want. And if you have to travel farther to get there, that's a luxury that rich people can accomplish and accommodate. A poor person can't say to their boss, hey, I'm not going to be at work until 9:15 every single day because I have to drop my kid off at school. No, that wouldn't fly. They'd say, well, leave sooner, or find a different job. Honestly, it's a luxury that only the upper class has, and it creates class distinctions, and then it cuts the funding from the lower schools so that they don't get any money. It's a spiral. It's a death spiral. Prepare students for jobs and careers, safe drug schools, great. Let's see. Republicans will restore parental rights in education and enforce our civil rights laws to stop schools from discriminating on the basis of race. We trust parents. I don't trust parents. If parents were capable of teaching their children, schools wouldn't exist. There would be no such thing as a school. I'm not capable of teaching my own kid how to do math. I don't know what history textbooks he needs to read, at what level, at what grade. When he's 12, which history book should I choose? I don't have any damn idea. I'm busy. I got shit to do. I don't have time to be knocking that shit out. So we have a school system for that. I trust teachers. I don't trust parents. Parents are dipshits. If they were capable of educating children, they'd be educators. But they're not. Why do you trust a welder to determine what's right and what's wrong for his kid's history education? You wouldn't. Why would you? You don't do that anywhere else. You don't do that in any other part of life. We trust doctors to tell us about our health. You don't ask a welder his opinion on your colon cancer. Doesn't make any sense. Why would you ask a welder what book the kids should be reading for 6th grade history? That doesn't make any sense. You should ask an educator. You should have somebody you can trust. If you don't trust the educators, there's a problem, probably with you, but we could nail this stuff down. We can figure this stuff out. This is a societal problem. I recognize that the people right now don't trust the teachers and the educators. I think that's because the Republicans are lying to you about what they do on a normal daily basis. Republican politicians lie to you about educators, their purpose, what they're doing, why they're doing it, and then stupids believe the Republican politician because it makes them feel good, and then they try and vote to get rid of it and kill the Department of Education. It's insane. It is gaslighting, honestly. It is a form of society-level gaslighting that is not helping us. It's only harming us. But it helps Republicans because they want private schools. Why would a Republican lie to you about the public school? Because he owns stock in a private school. He has business associates who would make a ton of money if more people went to the private school, or he himself would make more money if more people went to that private school. They want more money, and they want control over what the people are teaching to make more Republicans. Teach them the Bible, force them to listen to Bible quotes. Then when you, the Republican politician, quote the Bible, they feel good. They were taught the Bible in elementary school, and now you're quoting it to them? Of course they're going to vote for you. Makes them feel real good. All right, let's see. Education. Republicans will reinstate the 1776 Commission, which is propaganda, promote fair and patriotic civic education, and veto efforts to nationalize civics education. Christ almighty. We will support schools that teach America's founding principles and Western civilization. That's a fashy fucking sentence right there, isn't it? Promote love of the country with authentic civics education. The 1776 Commission is propaganda. It absolutely is. It is unreal. It is not true. It is filled with falsehoods. It is propaganda to make you feel a certain way about America. It is propaganda. The fact that they promote fair and patriotic civics education is, again, another lie. It's like the Patriot Act. It's actually quite harmful to you. Veto efforts at a nationalized civics education because they do not want real education. No actual facts. No. We want propaganda. They support propaganda and hate facts. The Republican platform, everybody. Freedom to pray. Republicans will champion the First Amendment right to pray and read the Bible in school and stand up to those who violate the religious freedoms of American students. You have the right to pray already. They can't take that away from you. You can pray anytime you want. But when the teacher leads it and tells everybody that they ought to do it, it becomes mandated. It becomes a thing that is correct to do. And all of a sudden, you're harming the freedom of the people who aren't going to pray or don't want to or of a different religion. The Supreme Court figured this all out.
Quality civics education brought to you by PragerU.
Yeah, there it is. It'll be PragerU 1776 Commission education. It'll be great. Read the Bible in schools? Well, what if you don't believe that the Bible is true? What if, as I think, the Bible is a fictional story? Why would I want you to read the fictional story to me? I can read Harry Potter anytime I want. It's exactly the same as the Bible. They're both full of magic spells, right? Chosen ones and miracles and magic spells. Yeah, it's Bronze Age Harry Potter. Yeah. Return education to the states. Terrible idea, because the states will choose things that are beneficial to them and their politics. United States spends more money per pupil. Let the states run our educational system as it should be run. No, that will lead certain states to choose political messages instead of education. Choose indoctrination instead of education. But that's what Republicans want. All right, what are we at? Bring common sense. Common sense is a feeling. Here we go with the feelings. Bring common sense to government and renew the pillars of American civilization. That's a bit fashy, too. Republicans offer a plan to renew American civilization with common sense policies that supports families, restores law and order, cares for veterans, promotes beauty, and honors American history. We commit to strengthening the foundations of the society for a brighter future. That's a fashy fucking statement, isn't it? I'm getting some real fucking Hitler vibes off of this one. Plan to renew American civilization with common sense policies. Common sense is just how they feel. So remember, common sense is just what they feel. Law and order, ironically, the party that's voting for Trump loves law and order. No, they don't. Law and order just means that black people know their place. That's what it means when they say it. Cares for veterans. Not really. They're going to cut veteran stuff. Promotes beauty. What the fuck does promote beauty mean? Honors American history only if it agrees with us. We commit to strengthening the foundations of society for a brighter future. That's that one. A lot of Hitler vibes off of that one. American families, we already know. Oh God, Republicans will promote the culture that values the sanctity of marriage and the blessings of childhood, the foundational role of families, and supports working parents. We will end policies that punish families. What policy punishes families? What the fuck are you talking about? What planet do you live on, Republicans? Rebuild our cities and restore law and order. Republicans will restore safety to our neighborhoods by replenishing the police departments.
Promoting beauty is more toddlers and tiaras.
More toddlers and tiaras. There you go. More underage beauty shows. That'll be great. Restoring common sense and policing. Common sense policing, which means feelings policing. So if the police feel like you're a problem, they can remove you, and then we'll just call it common sense. Protecting officers from frivolous lawsuits. When they break the law, you can't hold them responsible. More immunity for the cops. More immunity for the cops. We will stand up to the Marxist prosecutors. Man, I wish there were some Marxist prosecutors. There's no such thing as a Marxist prosecutor, but I wish there were. Vigorously defend the right of every American to live in peace. I mean, unless...
Kind of like the Iranian morality police.
yeah. We're going to have a morality police. This is going to be great. We will compassionately address homelessness to restore order in our streets. They're just going to arrest everybody for being homeless. If you are homeless, you are under arrest and you are going to prison. Homelessness will be a crime. You are not allowed to do it. And if you are in our streets being homeless, the cops who are now protected from frivolous lawsuits will simply arrest you and put you in jail. I guess that does solve the problem somehow. I think it's an inhumane and awful way to solve it, but they've solved
Compassionately arrest them.
it. Compassionately arrest them. Politely. Republicans will reassert greater federal control over Washington, D.C. to restore law and order in our capital city and ensure federal buildings and monuments are well maintained. Oh, so that's what this is about. They want more Confederate statues. They want Donald Trump statues, honestly. And they don't want me pissing on them and painting them and spray painting the Donald Trump statues and the Donald Trump monuments that will go up. There will be monuments, okay? Federal control over Washington, D.C. I thought they hated federal control. All right. Make D.C. a state. Then it will have states' rights. You see? We could solve this problem, but they won't do that because then it would be a lot more states. There would be a 51st state that would benefit the Democrats, not the Republicans. Republicans will end luxury housing and taxpayer benefit for illegal immigrants and use those savings to shelter and treat homeless veterans. What the fuck are you talking about? End luxury housing and taxpayer benefits for illegal immigrants. That's not real. That doesn't happen. They're going to cancel all the luxury houses that the the leprechauns live in, and they're going to cancel all the money that
totally
we're spending.
Spray paint a dirty diaper on a Trump statue.
They're going to cancel all the money that we're spending on unicorn food, you see, and give that to the veterans. It's not real. It's not a thing that happens. Make colleges, universities sane and affordable. Republicans will fire radical left accreditors, drive down tuition costs, restore due process protections, and pursue civil rights cases against schools that discriminate. Good God. Fire radical left accreditors. That will accomplish nothing. They'll just hire new accreditors. Drive down tuition costs. It's a company. Are you going to tell that company what to do? That sounds like a regulation. Sounds like a regulation, guys. Restore due process protections. What? This is all that shit about Title IX. That's really complicated. And pursue civil rights cases against schools that discriminate. All schools discriminate. You have to fill out an application to get there. If there's an application, that's discrimination 100%. They decide who's smart enough to be there. They decide who ought to be there, who deserves it. Anything that requires an application is a discrimination. We just have to accept it because they can't take everybody. Combat anti-Semitism, that is not a real thing. Republicans support the restoration of classic liberal arts education. That means they want exactly the way they want it. They want to control what a liberal arts education
immigrants
is.
to the Four Seasons Hotel. We must put a stop to this.
I know, right? This is mosquitoes, right? We gotta end this. I heard they're feeding them ambrosia as well. I mean, that's why it's so expensive. Restore American Beauty. Restore American Beauty. This is the one I was questioning. Republicans will promote beauty in public architecture and preserve our national treasures. We will build cherished symbols of our nation and restore genuine conservation efforts. This is more Confederate statues. They want more Confederate statues, damn it. They want more General Lee statues. They want more Confederate flags flying. They want more military bases named after Confederate generals. That is what they want. That is what American beauty looks like in their eyys. Honor American history.
What they mean by discrimination is that if a brown person gets accepted to a college, that means a white person didn't.
Right. If for every brown person in a college, that means there's a white person who didn't get in. They hate that. That is a nightmare scenario for them. American history. Republicans celebrate our great American heroes and are proud of the story that makes everyone free. We will organize a national celebration to mark the 250th anniversary of the founding United States of America. This is appeal to a history. This is just more light fascism. I'm not saying that you can't celebrate 250th anniversary. I'm just saying that they would do so in a fascist way. Government of, by the people. Republicans will offer a clear, precise, and USA-oriented plan to stop the radical left Democrats' weaponization of the government and its assault on American liberty. They didn't offer any clear, precise situations here. This is all feelings. They didn't put forward any actual policy here. It's only 16 pages. This is a platform. Fine, I recognize this is a platform, not policy. But they don't do clear, precise policy. They never have. We will restore government of, by, and for the people, ensuring accountability, protecting individual liberties, and fixing our once very corrupt elections. The corruption, we don't have corrupt elections. You're a liar right now if you think we do. We commit to upholding the Constitution of the United States. No, you don't. Oh, you only uphold the Constitution when it suits you. Appointing judges who respect the rule of law. That means republicanism, asterisk, only when they are pushing right-wing ideology and defending the rights of all Americans. Unless they're brown or trans. We will maintain the Supreme Court as it always meant to be at 9. It didn't used to be at 9. I don't even think they got the history right here. It used to be less than 9, didn't it? When it was invented, it was only 5, if I remember correctly. And again, the Supreme Court history, like 100 years ago, it was like 5 or something. It meant to be at 9. Like, there's nothing in the Constitution saying it must be 9. There's nothing in there saying it must be 9. It's not even in the Constitution, but they'll tell you it is, because they will lie to you about what's in the Constitution, what isn't. We will hold accountable those who misuse the power of the government to unjustly prosecute their political opponents. That hasn't happened. We will declassify government records, root out wrongdoers, and fire corrupt employees. Asterisk, anybody who thinks that Donald Trump committed a crime will get fired. Thought crimes will be punished. Republicans will dismantle the censorship and free speech. We will ban federal government from colluding with anyone to censor lawful speech, defund institutions engaged in censorship.
Was there ever a limit? It's 9 now until they decide it needs to be 11.
There is nothing in the Constitution about how many people it ought to be. It just doesn't say. Saying that it's historically been 9 is distorting history. It used to be less. It used to be less than 9. It got up to 9 when somebody didn't get their fucking way and added more people that would agree with them, which is a dangerous
It was
precedent.
originally 6.
Yeah, it was originally 6. There you go. Thank you for the correction there. But it was originally 6 until somebody, and I'm again shooting from the hip here, suggesting that somebody didn't get their way, so they added more people to get what they wanted. I don't think it's a good idea to go above 9 just because you don't like what they're currently saying. That's not a good idea. Packing that court, even for the Democrats, is not a fucking good idea. I would suggest, if you don't like what they have done, get a blue Senate, get a blue House, get a blue president, and pass constitutional changes. At which point
no
they
set
have
limit
to do that.
number.
No, there's no set limit number. No. Republicans will defend religious liberty. We are the defenders of the First Amendment right to religious liberty. It protects the right not only to worship according to the dictates of conscience, also the act in accordance with those beliefs, not just in places of worship, but in everyday life. Good Lord. Your belief is more important than anybody else's rights. So our ranks include men and women, blah, blah, blah. Nothing important. Christian nationalism is what they're pushing here. Christian nationalism. It'll be great. What could possibly go wrong if you just let the Christians break all the laws and the rules because they're Christians? We proudly stand for life, for families and life. We believe that the 14th Amendment in the Constitution of the United States guarantees no person can be denied life, liberty without due process, and that the states are therefore free to pass laws protecting those rights. This is abortion. This is what they're talking about. They're suggesting that a state can pass a law to prevent you from having an abortion. After 51 years, because of us, the power has been given to the states. And
Josh Hawley has entered the chart.
yeah. Josh Hawley, proud Christian nationalist. We might talk about that on Saturday. I'm running out of time here tonight. We will oppose the late-term abortion. Late-term abortions almost never happen. It's not like they were happening willy-nilly. Even under Roe versus Wade, late-term abortions were incredibly rare. They talk about how it must have been happening every 4 minutes, but they're not. They're lying to scare you. While supporting mothers and policies that advance parental care, access to birth control, and IVF and fertility treatments, this one's a straight-up fucking lie. They will cut prenatal care because it'll cost too much. Access to birth control, the hard right really does not want birth control to be legal. And they do not want IVF fertility treatments. They don't. The hard right will convince President Donald Trump to outlaw these things. They will. Republicans will end left-wing gender insanity. We will keep men out of women's sports. That's already happened. There are no men in women's sports. There are trans women in women's sports, but trans women are women. Ban taxpayer funding for sex change surgeries. That doesn't happen. But even if it did, that's healthcare. And stop taxpayer-funded schools from promoting gender transition. So you're going to force the schools and the educators and tell them what to say. I thought you guys liked the First Amendment. You're going to force them to say certain things. You can't say that to this person because they were born with the gender of male. You can't say certain things to them. That seems like you would be constraining what they were saying. You'd be constraining people's rights. But again, wokeism is just what they don't like. Let's see. And restore protections for women and girls. They don't care about women and girls. They've never given a shit about the WNBA. It was a joke among the Republicans. They don't give a shit about women's sports. They never have. If I went to school in the South, and guess what? Women's sports got almost no money because nobody gave a shit. They do give a shit if a trans woman's on that team. All of a sudden, it becomes a fucking nightmare, and they get scared. Honestly, they get scared that they might be attracted to a trans woman. This terrifies them. They might accidentally see one that is kind of cute, and then they would be upset, and then they would be a gay, and then they're gay, and they have to have a panic attack, and then they have to kill that person. I'm just telling you how it usually goes. In the Republican head. Let's see. Republican territories. The territories of Guam and the Commonwealth of Northern Mariana Islands, American Samoa, U.S. Virgin Islands, and Puerto Rico are vital importance to our national security and welcome their greatest participation in all aspects of the political process, except statehood. We will not allow you to. We will protect the territories by not allowing them to become states. We promise. You will get to be a territory for longer. You don't want to be a state. Ugh. Peace through strength. There we go. Some more fashy stuff. Keeping the American people safe requires a strong America. The Biden administration's weak foreign policy has made us the less safe and the laughing stock all over the world. I don't see how. I do not see how. This is a feeling, and I've never heard anybody other than Trump say it, laughing stock all over the world. Our B team, our old equipment, has been given to the people who are untrained on that equipment in Ukraine, and they are beating Russia. Ukraine is beating Russia with our second-hand equipment, maybe even third-hand equipment. If you ask a few people, this might be third-string equipment. They are beating Russia. What do you think they could do with second-hand equipment? What do you think they could do with first-string equipment? What do you think our trained soldiers could do with first-hand, top-of-the-line equipment? We are not weak. We are not less safe. That is a lie Republicans say to make themselves feel good. Peace through strength. We could have peace through economics. That would be a better idea. That's my idea anyway. Rebuilding military and alliances. Well, why are you rebuilding? They're still the same. You know what military alliances don't want? Swapping every 4 fucking years because we hired a different person to be president. That's bad for your military alliances. That's bad for your diplomacy, to have a different fucking stance every 4 years, being a pendulum that swings back and forth between us completely supporting you and us abandoning you for 4 years, and then the next time the pendulum swings the other way, we support you again. That's bad for diplomacy. That's bad for defeating terrorism. Building an Iron Dome missile defense shield, again, this is the missile dome defense shield above America. That's insane and stupid. It's the dumbest damn thing I've ever heard. I've never heard anybody mention it before. I've never heard anybody mention that until right now in this document. Nobody has ever said that the America needs an Iron Dome missile defense shield. That's insane. No one's ever suggested that. We'll build the military bigger, better, and stronger than ever before. It's already the biggest ever. Our full commitment is protecting Americans, ensuring safe and prosperous future for all. Modernize the military. Well, it's already done, man. This is a thing that's already done. Strengthening alliances. I just talked about alliances. Defend America's borders again to Mexican people. Trafficking drugs. They help our country, and it's the Americans that want the drugs that demand the drugs be brought across. Fix that problem. Fix the Americans demanding drugs, and you'll fix and the problem will dry up. Revive our industrial base. Our industrial base is critical in ensuring good jobs, our American people, and the reliable production of vital defense platforms and supplies made in the USA. That's the point they're getting to. Build the bombs in America. We don't have to buy them from someone else. And that's it. Republicans will use tools of national power to protect our national's critical infrastructure and industrial base from malicious cyber actors. You know what would help us from malicious cyber actors? Legalizing weed. If we legalized weed, there would be millions more people, millions more anti-hackers who could work for the government protecting you. But right now, we can't hire them because they smoke wacky tobacco. There are millions of hackers in our country right now who could and would gladly, for a paycheck, protect you from Iran's hacking. But they can't because they smoke wacky tobacco. It means they cannot be hired. They cannot be trusted. Legalize weed, and you will have millions more hackers capable of protecting you and your country and your vital infrastructure. But Republicans won't do that because they don't like wacky tobacco, you see. Oh, goodness. That was a long... It's only 16 pages, but I went over every fucking bit of it. And now my voice starts to hurt from doing the Republican voice so much. So, what did you guys think? How bad was it? I know it's only a wish list, as somebody else suggested.
Yeah, they like Coke.
They like Coke. Oh, I see. Republicans are a cocaine kind of thing, not a weed thing. Okay, I see. Okay. So if the hackers were doing cocaine, we would legalize cocaine? I don't think so. Anyway, it seems bad. It seems awful. I don't want anybody with those politics to be in charge of our country. I don't. If that is the Republican platform, I don't like Republicans. I already knew that. I already don't like them. But they have given us their policies, their prescriptions, and the direction that they would like to take the country.
Sugar, get them going.
They have given us what they think the country ought to do. They have given us, which is I appreciate that. I want the politicians to tell me what they want to do with the country, and then we can argue it, we can debate it, we can discuss what ought to be done and what should not be done, and what's a good idea and what's a bad idea, and then we can vote on it, and we can tell our representatives what we like and what we don't like, and we can tell them to do a better job, and we can tell them, hey, this is a bad bill, this is a good bill, we like this, we don't like that. That's part of democracy. I like it. Good job. Thank you for letting us know what you're thinking, Republicans. You have terrible thoughts. So thanks for letting us know. I don't want you in charge of anything. I guess that's the takeaway. Republicans shouldn't be in charge of the government because these are their ideas. I just read 16 pages of their ideas, mostly written by, some of it was written by Trump. Like you can get some Trumpisms in there. Some of it was just written by policy wonks. And they are having a Republican National Convention soon, I think. And he'll have some speeches. It's not going to be a big deal. There's nothing crazy happening at that one. But it will happen. I'll see if there's any cool speeches, and we'll cover it and see if anything important happens. Probably not. They're just going to say all the Trump things. They're going to push this platform. They're going to say this is what we're going to do. Most of that can't happen. Most of it won't happen. And a lot of it is based on imagination.
I am not surprised by any of it, but it's just more fear-mongering. What about ISMS and racism?
Yeah, what about isms and racism? Yeah, absolutely. There's a bunch of imaginary things there. There's a bunch of things that aren't real in there. There's a bunch of pointing at the government when it's actually a capitalism problem, but they can't comprehend that. That is a thing that you cannot explain to a conservative. They blame the government for everything. If Sean Hannity stubs his toe, he's mad at the American government. You know, he blames Obama every time he has a hangnail, and there's nothing you can do about that. You can't convince them to change, except maybe very slowly. You can kind of convince them over years. It takes a long time, pointing out the problems within capitalism. So that's what it seems like to me. Capitalist hellscape. If they win, companies have more power. You get fewer rights, fewer freedoms, but at the expense of order, Republican order. And that's what it seems like to me, is, as usual, they do not like freedom. They don't know what the word means. They use the word improperly. A
big fear of mine is the punishment of educators for teaching sex ed. The pornography ban could easily be twisted into anti-sex ed laws, which could lead to more teen pregnancy and a more
stretched thin youth. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. That is a thing that they would push. If the hardest right got in charge, they would push for a pornography ban. They would absolutely cancel sex ed in school. They hate that shit. They do not want you, the teachers, explaining to children how their bodies work and where babies come from. This is a job for the church, according to the hard right. And they blame teen pregnancy on sex education, but they're wrong. It's the lack of sex education that causes teen pregnancy. They refuse to accept that reality. They refuse the statistical proof that young people educated in how sex works are safer and better and less likely to get pregnant and less likely to get abused. Honestly, young children don't know that they're being abused. If you didn't tell them, you have to teach them what abuse is, and it has to be done properly. I'm not saying you just lay the whole thing out there. And if you teach them properly, if you let the educators educate them in the right way, they will be safer. They will be less likely to be trafficked. They will be less likely to be harmed by an older family member. You know, they'll be less likely to be harmed by a teacher or a complete stranger. But that requires education. That requires talking about things that are icky. We don't like talking about things that are icky. Don't talk about that. That's icky. We don't like that. And their delicate sensibilities are harming people. And I don't like that. I would rather have difficult conversations.
At Waldo, exactly. If you don't teach them how to tell or have the language to explain, they won't come forward.
Exactly. They don't know how. They don't know anything went wrong. They might feel like something's wrong, but they don't know who to talk to. They don't know how to tell everybody. They won't understand what's happened, and they won't be able to tell you, and it'll come out later and you'll feel bad. But again, they don't want to talk about that. That's icky. They don't want to talk about that. Republicans repress all of these things. They don't want to talk about that. That shouldn't be talked about. That's not a polite conversation. That's not a part of the society that we want to exist. So we're going to push it down. We're going to keep it from being known or seen. Put it back in the closet. Damn it. Put that shit back in the closet. It belongs in the closet. Do not let it out. They are a repressed minority. Not oppressed. No. Republicans are a repressed minority, and they like it that way, and they want you to join them, and they want more of it. And they want that repression forced onto you. They want that repression forced onto everybody else in the country so that they can feel normal.
I am the algorithm. Click on this video to make me happy. You wouldn't like me when I am angry.